Hi guys, Sean, let's do the Verdunnies. It's been a minute since I had a bone stock M17, so this is just going to be a quick abbreviated refresher, kind of what you should do if you just got your first M17. And the first thing is resist the urge to turn any velocity screw adjustments or pressure relief adjustments. Guys, screw your barrel in, oil the marker. In this case, I'm going to put a pretty healthy dose in here. I don't know how long this marker has been sitting on the shelf. M17 loves oil. Just going to sit it aside for a sec. Obviously, if you subscribe to my channel, I, for the first time ever, received a Valken branded 13 CI bottle. Every single M17 I've ever purchased just came with the stock BYOA, bring your own air. So this is a first for me. DK Spencer asked if I could test the pressure on this, the output pressure. So this bottle is filled to 3,000. I still have the sticker on there. 3,000, even though it doesn't quite exactly say 3,000. I trust my compressor gauge more than I do these little spring gauges on here. So let's see what it does. I think this bottle's advertised at 800 PSI output. Regulators are not exact. So that can vary, you know, probably 25 to 50 PSI in either direction, up or down. This bottle, this would be the first time you can put this gauge on it. And, wow, come on. It says exactly, well, it's probably like 790 PSI output. Brand new bottle, filled for the very first time. Expect that number to change. That's gonna drop. I'm gonna guess this bottle, after it's been filled and cycled a few times, probably drop to 775 PSI output. Completely normal. There's springs and things inside here and they just break in, and that's what happens. So, you know, when you're trying to compare with your friends whose marker shoots the hardest, honestly, the 25 PSI can really make a difference, you know, 5 or 10 FPS. So don't get too crazy about it. It's air after all. So I've put that healthy dose of oil in the marker. I haven't changed the velocity. This is right out of the box. Just gonna wet my fingers with a little bit of that same silicone oil. There is silicone oil included in the box. I'm just using my own brand here. I use Super Lube. Any silicone oil will do. I would totally recommend an on-off for this bottle. In this case, I'm not going to run one. I'm just going to screw it in. So here we go. Make sure your marker isn't safe. There's no magazine in it. This is your first time, remember. So lots of people run on-offs and they are super convenient. If you're going to run a butt stock, you're probably going to need a longer guide rod to properly adjust it. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these guide rods, but yeah, you know, it adds to the realism a little bit when you have your bottle on there. But you can have your marker just like this. So this bottle's just screwed in kind of gingerly. You can feel it gets a little bit of tension. And you could leave it stored like this. Air is not engaged. And when you needed this marker, it's as simple as, you hear that click? That means she's armed. And then I always give it like at least another half turn. You don't have to bottom these bottles out, but you can if you want, no big deal. And we'll slip our bottle on here, just like that. And there you go. Your marker is ready to fire. Safety glasses, Factory magazine. Remember this, guys. If you have not done a winder delete or any of that stuff, which you can see in some other videos, or if you follow along in the Facebook groups, Wixon shop has, you know, the springs and the little plug if you want to run a plug and a follower. Makes these mags far more reliable, but in this case, you do not have it. You have a stock mag. Remember to wind them. Do not just load these like firearms. You have to wind this. There is a spring-loaded winder and a steel cable in here, very fine steel cable. And if you just jam the rounds in, that cable just gets bound up around the spring inside here and eventually just jams. And then your mag will not release. It'll just be stuck like that. So wind it up till it stops. You don't have to ugga-dugga this. You'll feel when it stops. And then just load your rounds. In this case, I'm going to use the Grimberg Jewel V3s. My V3s weigh 7.4 grams. And just start plopping them in. That's it. Good practice to at least see how they're kind of loose in the end. I like to just put my finger on it, and there's a little release button here, right here, and just press it, and the balls will come up to the top, and you'll feel they don't jiggle around in there. Load your mag in. Make sure it is engaged. Sometimes this, when these are new, these mags don't quite lock in place, so just give it a couple smacks, maybe a tug. You don't have to do that after you've done this a bunch of times. It will break in. And there you go. First time, don't worry about chronographing anything. Just shoot it, have some fun. Make sure you start to understand how this functions. Number one thing, you never adjust the velocity right here while this marker has air engaged. Remove your bottle, ensure this marker is completely degassed before you turn anything. That is a number one cause for popping this cap right off of there. Boom, done. Scare the bejesus out of you. All right, well, bone stock out of the box, 7.4 gram Jewel V3s. I expect it to shoot like a paintball marker. Not what I'm used to, that's for sure. All right. Of course, now you're comfortable. Toss a chrono in there, see what she's shooting at. 140. 138. 140, M17, consistent as always. All right, so you've had some fun. You want to turn it up some. As soon as you start turning this marker up, what you're gonna notice is you're probably gonna start dropping balls out the front. It's a good time to replace your detent, which is located under this cover, with a Wixon detent. Best in the business. It will prevent you from looking like a clown, essentially. Nothing worse than pulling your launcher out and airing it up and all your balls come tumbling out the end, or you're shooting doubles, triples, quadruples. So you've had your fun. You want to turn it up. You have replaced your detent, so you have no fear of your balls dropping. Make sure your marker is degassed before you turn any screws. Did I say that? I did. And there's a good reason for that, because you'll blow your cap. When the bottle is removed, you know this marker has no air in it. Good practice, put it in fire. Just a double check. Back in safety. Okay. Velocity adjustment happens right here. In its factory unbypassed state, I would never set this velocity screw more than flush. You can, but you're really creeping on the boundary of this cap bursting. It puts a lot of tension on these Bellevue washers inside here. So that can be an issue. So I go flush. I hate this guide rod, it's getting in my way already. And just turn it till it's flush. I put my leg down here. Hopefully you can pick that up. I'm just a C hair below flush, but I know what I'm doing. The other thing you want to do, this hexagonal device here, nut, whatever you want to call it, is your pressure relief valve. It is designed to blow off air when you overpressurize your marker. If you put 1100 psi in it, if you change the velocity like we just did. Now, you need to tighten this down till it stops. No ugga-duggas, just tighten it down till it stops. You are essentially defeating a safety device here, so proceed with caution. Do I have to say that, guys? So I tightened it down. Don't have to ugga-dugga this, just till it stops. There is a little brass seat piston in there with an O-ring on the end, and what it does is it's spring loaded. So you've increased the spring tension on that so it will not relieve as easily. Now, tightening this down does not 100% defeat this safety feature. Likely, we won't get it on an 800 psi bottle, but if I adjusted my velocity how I have just now and put 1100 in this marker, my guess is the PRV would still blow off. And in many cases, you have to disassemble it to put it back together because that O-ring actually becomes dislodged from the piston. .800 psi, we should be okay. I will thread my bottle back in. Marker's on safe. Heard it gas? See, that was just like a touch, but that's not enough. If you shoot like this when it just aired up, this bottle will slowly start untwisting itself just from the oscillation of the marker. So half turn at least. I like to have the gauge at least facing me. So that was a full turn. Put your buttstock back on. Dig your balls out of the trap and we'll reload. Remember to wind your magazine. 3 loaded. Just gonna release my balls. There they are nicely at the top. Magazine in. Now, I would just go straight to the chrono, but being you're new, handle this safely. You don't need to be doing 2 things at once. Test that your velocity and your PRV and everything in your marker still continues to function as it just was in its most basic factory form. That's more like it. Excellent, it's working perfectly. Chronograph. We went from 140 to 232. 240, so 100 FPS more. 242. Don't forget, this marker is brand new. Bolt spring's brand new. Everything is brand new. It's gonna break in. I think Valken recommended like 100 shots or something like that. And they're about correct. That's what I find once this marker starts chugging along how it should. About 100 shots. So Don't be afraid to shoot it. .244, you get the picture. We are out. And that's about it, guys. There are a plethora of upgrades for this that I'm sure you're all more than well aware of. This was just a shoot it out of the box refresher for me, even myself. This has been a long time since I fired a bone stock marker. I mean, you can buy upgraded barrels, magazines, mag wells, heat cores, everything, really. Grips, this is just a standard AR style grip. Spring kits, bolt spring kits, depending on what kind of power you're searching for. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Hope you guys had some fun too. See ya.